Have you ever felt like your heart belonged somewhere you've never been?
Have you ever looked beyond your hometown and believed that your real life was waiting for you somewhere else? If you have, then you'll understand my story. My name is Isabella Romero. I was born in a tiny whitewashed village in Andalusia, Spain, where life moved as slowly as the old church bells. Every morning smelled of fresh bread and olive trees, and every evening ended with the same familiar faces gathered in the village square. It was beautiful, but to me, it felt like a cage decorated with flowers. When I was little, I would climb onto an old stone wall overlooking the railway tracks. Every afternoon, a train thundered past our village on its way to Madrid. As it disappeared into the distance, I'd whisper to myself,
One day, I'll be on that train. My little brother, Mateo, used to laugh and ask, "Why do you always stare at that train, Bella?"
I would smile and say,
Because it's carrying people who dared to chase their dreams.
But not everyone believed dreams were worth chasing. My father, Carlos Romero, was a hard-working olive farmer. His hands were rough, his voice was firm. His love was hidden behind strict rules. One evening, he caught me watching the train again.
Isabella, he said, "The world outside this village is cruel."
Madrid doesn't care about girls with big dreams. Stay here, where you're safe. His words weren't cruel, they were afraid. My mother, Sofia, never argued with him. But later that night, she quietly sat beside me, brushed the hair away from my face, and whispered, "Sometimes love means protecting someone, even if they don't understand it." I rested my head on her shoulder, but deep inside, I knew my dream wasn't disappearing. Weeks passed, and every day my heart grew heavier. I wasn't afraid of failing anymore. I was afraid of spending my whole life wondering, what if? Then, one rainy evening, I overheard my parents discussing my future. "She'll marry Miguel next year," my father said confidently. In that moment, my entire world stopped. No one had asked what I wanted. That night, I cried silently until dawn. Before the sun rose, I packed 2 dresses, an old family photograph, and a notebook where I'd written every dream I'd ever had. Just as I was about to leave, I found a small cloth pouch inside my bag. It was filled with a few euros and a handwritten note from my mother. "A bird isn't born to stay inside its nest forever. Fly carefully, and never forget where your home is. I will pray for you every single day." Without looking back, I walked toward the railway station, carrying nothing but hope and my mother's faith. As the train doors closed behind me, I believed I was leaving my old life forever. I had no idea that my biggest battle wasn't waiting in Madrid. It was waiting inside my own heart. People always say that chasing your dreams is hard, but no one tells you how lonely it feels when your dream is the only thing keeping you alive. The moment I stepped off the train in Madrid, reality hit me harder than I had ever imagined. The city I had dreamed about for years didn't greet me with opportunities. It greeted me with silence. Thousands of people rushed past me, yet not a single person looked into my eyes. Back in my village, everyone knew my name. For the first few days, I searched everywhere for work. Cafes, bakeries, grocery shops, clothing stores, I knocked on every door. Every answer sounded the same. We're not hiring. You don't have experience. Come back next month. One afternoon, I realized I had only €5 left. I skipped lunch. Then dinner. By the third day, my stomach hurt so badly that I drank water just to trick my body into believing I had eaten something. That night, I sat alone on a park bench,
hugging my backpack as the cold wind wrapped around me like a cruel reminder that dreams don't come with guarantees.
For the first time, I questioned everything. Maybe my father was right. Maybe I was never meant to leave.
I pulled out the old family photo from my bag. My father's serious face, my mother's gentle smile. Little Mateo is laughing beside us.
Tears rolled down my cheeks. I miss you, I whispered. But if I go back now, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering who I could have become. The next morning, hope appeared in the form of a friendly woman named Lucia, who owned a small fruit stall at a local market. She smiled and offered me temporary work, arranging fruit and serving customers. For the first time in weeks, I felt alive again. Lucia treated me like family. She taught me how to recognize fresh produce, bargain with suppliers, and greet every customer with warmth instead of desperation. I finally believed my life was changing. But sometimes, the people who smile at you the most aren't the ones you should trust. One evening, after the market closed, the day's earnings disappeared. Thousands of euros. The money was gone. Before I could even explain, every eye turned toward me. She wasn't here before. She's the new girl. She must have stolen it. Lucia looked at me with tears in her eyes. Isabella, tell me it wasn't you. My voice disappeared. I had escaped my village to prove I deserved a better life.
Yeah.
But now, I was about to lose the only person who had ever believed in me. And I had no idea that the next 24 hours would change my destiny forever. Sometimes God doesn't answer your prayers immediately, because first you need to be still and trust. He wants to turn you into the person capable of carrying the blessing you've been asking for. The morning after I was accused of stealing the market's money, I walked through the streets of Madrid with tears streaming down my face. I had no job, no family beside me, no one to defend my name. For a moment, I truly believed my story would end there, as I sat on the same park bench where I had once cried from hunger. An elderly man quietly took the empty seat beside me. His name was Don Alejandro. He had watched me working at Lucia's fruit stall for weeks. He looked at me and asked, "If everyone believes you failed, do you believe it too?" I couldn't answer. Instead, I broke down crying. He handed me a handkerchief and smiled. Character isn't measured by what people say about you. It's measured by what you do after they stop believing in you. Those words changed something inside me. The next morning, I returned to the market, not to beg for my job back, but to clear my name. Just as I arrived, a young delivery worker rushed toward Lucia with security footage from a nearby shop. The real thief had been caught on camera. It wasn't me. Lucia ran to me, wrapped her arms around me, and cried harder than I did. "I'm so sorry, Isabella. I should have trusted the girl who never gave me a reason to doubt her." For the first time in my life, I understood that the truth may walk slowly, but it always arrives. Don Alejandro became my mentor. He didn't give me money. He gave me knowledge. He taught me how to save, negotiate, manage inventory, and treat every customer with dignity. Years passed. Every euro I earned, I invested. Every mistake became a lesson. every tear became strength. It became Romero Foods, one of Madrid's most respected local businesses. The little village girl everyone believed would fail had become a successful entrepreneur. But the greatest victory wasn't the business. It was the person I had become. One autumn afternoon, I received a call from Matteo. Isabella, Dad is very sick. He keeps looking at the road, hoping you'll come home. Without thinking twice, I closed my office, bought a train ticket, and returned to the village I had once left with nothing but hope. Everything looked smaller than I remembered. But one thing had never changed. Home. When I opened the old wooden gate, my mother ran toward me with tears pouring down her face. She held me so tightly that neither of us could speak. Inside the house, my father lay quietly in bed. His once powerful hands had become weak. When he saw me, tears filled his eyes. I spent years believing I was protecting you. But all I did was stand in front of your dreams. I knelt beside him, held his hand, and smiled through my tears. No, Papa, you gave me something much greater. You taught me honesty.
Yeah.
You taught me discipline.
Yeah.
You taught me never to quit.
Yeah.
And those lessons are the reason I survived. For the first time in my life, my father cried in my arms. Not because he had lost his daughter, but because he had finally seen the woman she had become. Before leaving the village, I restored my parents' home, paid off every debt they had, and created scholarships for girls from small villages who dreamed of building a better future. Because I never wanted another little girl to believe that her dreams were too big simply because she came from a small place. Today, when I stand in my office overlooking Madrid, I still hear the sound of that old train from my childhood. Only now, every time it passes, I smile, because I finally understand. The train never carried my dream. I carried my dream all along. If my story has taught you anything, let it be this. Your circumstances do not define your future. People may doubt you. Life may break you. You may cry, fail, and lose everything. But if you protect your character, work with honesty, and refuse to give up, one day you'll look back and realize that every painful step was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. Dreams really do come true, not for the luckiest people, but for those brave enough to keep believing when no one else does. If you're chasing a dream today, don't stop. Your train may be closer than you think. In the end, I have to request you, if you like my story, please subscribe, like, and share. Also, give your valuable comments. Thank you for watching.